Welcome to the Floridaville Express. This show is hosted and produced by Rocket Ship Consultants, and it's based on our popular podcast, The Floridaville. The Floridaville Express is a condensed show, and each week we highlight people who are doing amazing work and having an impact on or in Florida. I'm Jeanne Curtin. I'm an attorney, a certified circuit court mediator, and the Business Partnerships Director for Rocket Ship Consultants.
And I'm Rosanna, Catalano, an attorney and the founder of Rocket Ship Consultants, a strategic communications firm, and our mission is to launch your business or organization and take it to the next level.
Our guest tonight is Morgan Bentley. He's the managing partner of the Bentley Law firm in Sarasota, which specializes in commercial litigation. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Morgan, your bio on your firm's website says you handle complex arbitrations and administrative hearings along with business and real estate disputes. For our audience members that are unfamiliar with arbitration and administrative hearings, can you give us some examples and explain to us what type of law practice that is?
Sure. So it's kind of a broad area. So in simpler terms, an administrative hearing is sometimes like an administrative trial. It's done sometimes by an agency. It's done in-house. In some ways, it looks a lot like a trial. There'll be an administrative law judge, but it's probably a little bit more informal feeling because it's usually in an agency headquarters or an office as opposed to a courtroom. An arbitration is just an alternative way of handling disputes, except unlike a mediation where it's completely voluntary, an arbitration typically is binding. So if the arbitrators come up with a number or an answer, depending on what it is you're disputing, that is binding and subject to only limited review on appeal. So it's definitely an important process. It's very different than a trial, though, because a trial, you have all kinds of appellate rights. And it's very public, whereas in arbitration, you have almost no appellate rights and it's very private. So it sort of depends on what the issue is as to why you would want to be in one form versus another form. And that's something we talk about with clients all the time. There's pros and cons to everything.
How long have you lived in Florida?
Since day one. Since birth.
Okay. I know you're a big fan of the Sunshine State. And why is Florida your favorite state?
Gosh, I mean, it does not take much to look at Florida. And this is why people, they go on vacation here and then they're like, oh my gosh, I'm staying here. First of all, find me a state that's as diverse as Florida. I mean, you go from, I was just in the Florida Keys, which is like, being in the Caribbean. And then you go all the way up to North Florida, which is rolling hills and countryside. I mean, it's very wooded and very country and everything in between. And even culturally, it's all different. I mean, the East Coast has got the whole New York connection and the West Coast is more Midwestern. And then you've got kind of the center of the state that's still very agricultural. I mean, it is unbelievably diverse, both from a weather standpoint, from a culture standpoint. Just the whole thing is, it's just amazing. We got springs, we got beaches, we got it all.
I would have to agree with that. And I'm a native Floridian as well.
Yep,
so
yep.
What do you think our state does well?
Get people to come here. We sell ourselves very well, which is both a good and a bad thing. I think we're accommodating to people. It's a fluid place to fit in. I mean, if you're from an old, say, if you try to move to Savannah, for instance, there is old Savannah and there is new Savannah, right? And you're never going to get into old Savannah unless you were born there. So Florida doesn't have those kinds of issues. And so it's a great place for people to move to. And that's both its biggest curse, too, is just way too easy for people to move here and not know what the impacts are that they're creating when they move here. Because we're a fragile state. That's the only thing about us. We're like a very fragile piece of property.
Do you think we fail at that, or is there some other
we
things
do?
Yeah,
Environmentally is our biggest. That's our biggest weakness. It's our biggest strength and it's our biggest weakness. And you cannot pay enough attention to the environmental aspects. I know people get tired of hearing about it, but it is the thing that makes us who we are, and it's easy to lose and hard to get back. I mean, you look at the fishing grounds off the Northeast, and for 500 years they were fished every single day, and in 20 years we fished them to extinction. So the fisheries, Tampa Bay used to be the biggest sardine fishery in the United States, and you can't find a sardine in Tampa Bay anymore. I mean, it's that conch shells were a thing. If you go down to the Keys, they had turtle soup, and they really had turtles in them, and we've completely fished them out. So swordfish, you don't find swordfish in quantity off the coast anymore, and that used to be a regular thing. But there's some success stories. I mean, manatees are a success story. Snook are a success story. I mean, there's Goliath grouper are a success story. So it can be done. We just have to be constantly vigilant about it and not mess it up.
What do you think we need to do to secure a better future for Florida?
So that's one thing.
Vigilance.
You have to be vigilant about it. And education. I mean, we can't have 22 million people and be 48th in education. I mean, that's just not going to work long term. It's not going to work because businesses don't move somewhere where they can't get employees. And I don't mean to be mercenary about it, but I mean, think about it. If you're in Connecticut and you've got a business and you're like, you go home one day and you're like, hey, honey, we're going to move to Florida where our kids are going to go to public school and it's 48th in the country. You're going to get some pushback from the spouse. I mean, that's not something that's going to happen. And then when you get here, Bradenton, just north of us in Sarasota, used to produce more marine accessories than any place else in the United States. And they've all moved to North Carolina and Texas because they can't get the skilled workers that they need here. So they just moved to where the skilled workers were. And North Carolina is a good example. Is they have doubled down on that education system to get it from the bottom to, at least the middle, if not the top. And it's paying dividends. People are moving there. Businesses are moving there, not just retirees. And that's what Florida really needs to do.
Well, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Phipps Reporting, tonight. Phipps Reporting has been providing exceptional service to the legal community for more than 30 years. Let's take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I want to hear about your family ties to the state.
Sure.
At Rocket Ship Consultants, our mission is to take your organization to the next level. Our team develops strategic communication plans that help entrepreneurs, corporations, associations, and individuals reach new heights. Our consulting team is made up of attorneys with additional experience in journalism, public relations, politics, broadcasting, and advocacy. Let us help you take that dream you have for a podcast or video show and make it into a reality. We can create networking opportunities, educational forums, and interactive conferences to spread your message. Let our team provide you with fresh ideas and inspiration. Rocket Ship Consultants offers a variety of services, so check out our website at rocketshipconsultants.com. Take off with Rocket Ship Consultants and launch your organization with us.
Welcome back. Our guest tonight is business litigation expert Morgan Bentley with the Bentley Law Firm in Sarasota. What are your family connections to Florida?
So before I bore you with that, can I give a little plug for your consulting firm? So I've worked with Ro before, and I have to say, you guys are dogged. It's like they just never give up. It's like a dog with a bone. They're just like, okay, we're going to keep doing this and doing this and doing this until we get what we want. And I'm like, I'm sure glad I'm not on the other side of that, but it works, and I recommend them to your viewers. So I'm a third generation Lakelander, which probably is I don't know if there is any other such thing, but so my there's a lake called Lake Bentley in Lakeland, and when I was growing up, everyone thought I was rich because everything around it was named Lake Bentley whatever, and they assumed we owned it. And I was like, no, it's named after that lake over there, but which I have nothing to do with. But so in any event, so my grandfather was a lawyer, my dad was a lawyer, and then a judge. My sister is a lawyer, first woman to be the Brevard County attorney, and so she just got an award from the Brevard County Bar Association for that. Been there 35 years, also a Gator. My granddad was the president of Florida Bar in 1937. He was the president of the Florida American Legion. He started with his brother the Florida Aviation Association, even though he really didn't fly a plane, which was kind of funny because I was like, don't you need to know? But his brother did. So it it all worked out. He ran for and lost the Attorney General position, which he and I share that ignominy of losing an election together. So we've got that bonding. Then my dad was a lawyer for many years in Lakeland with Lawton Childs and some other folks. And then everyone kind of went their own ways, and Lawton, of course, went on to be Lawton. And my dad went on the bench and stayed there till he retired after 25 years or so, at which point he went sailing and basically never came back again. And then I was a lawyer, and my sister, both lawyers, and then everyone else is a doctor. So we have a big connection to the state. In fact, everyone in my family, including my cousins in Texas, have gone to the University of Florida at some point in their educational process. How that happened, I have no idea. Like how people in Texas ended up going to UF, I don't know, but I'm proud of it.
Well, I know you're a double gator like me, and obviously we both attended the University of Florida for undergrad and for law school.
Yep. Now,
I think you may have submitted this question for me to ask you, but I also would agree. Why are the Florida Gators the best?
Oh, well, look, we're lucky to have. Yes, it's exactly. No, okay, so I will say this is we're really lucky if you think about it in Florida. We have Florida. That bears repeating. We have Florida. But Florida State is a great university. University of Miami is a great university. UCF has gone from like 0 to 60 in the last 10 years. USF is one of the biggest by number of students. It's like one of the biggest in the country. It's insane how many of these schools we have. Plus, we've got New College, which is an interesting kind of thing. We've got Ringling, which has its own film studio, for Pete's sake, in Florida. I mean, it's really remarkable. But only the University of Florida is the University of Florida. And we're lucky because, when you and I were first of all, you and I probably couldn't get into the University of Florida anymore if you look at the entrance requirements.
Probably not.
but it's a national school now. It is recognized. It's in the top 20 academically. It's got research, both undergrad and at the graduate school levels, whether it's medical school or vet school or law school. Top 20s across the board, in some cases top 10s. I mean, it is up there when they talk about the University of Michigan's and the University of Virginia's now, which is something that 25 years ago, I mean, people talked about it, but they never really thought it could happen. And now here we are living in an age where the University of Florida is considered on par with schools like that. And that's just a feather in all our caps. I mean, we should, whether you like the Seminoles or the Canes or whatever, you should be pretty proud of the fact that you have a school that's at that level. And certainly good for me since I got there before it was hard to get into.
I think the preeminence has really changed the way that the universities are being perceived and what they've been able to do, all the state schools. And I know that Jeanne is very involved with Florida State University and their alumni organization. And I know that they've also rose in the ranks. So it's amazing what we've seen happen with our state university system.
It's just remarkable. And we should be proud of it. But of course, the other thing about Florida is, and this is a shameless plug, is, if you look at the athletics, right? I mean, yes, you've got the football, baseball, the big ones, but look at the women's athletics at the University of Florida. We are number 2 in the country, behind only Stanford, in terms of women's athletic programs and their preeminence. They have those director cups every year, and Stanford always wins it because they just got, everything under the sun. But we're always second or third. And that's a really remarkable achievement too, year after year after year. So I give them all kinds of credit up there in Gainesville. They do a great job.
The Alumni Association is going to call you very shortly after
right, yeah. To write them a check or something. Yes,
that's right.
You should write me a check.
You know how that fundraising works.
Yeah, exactly.
So what have you done to help make Florida a better state?
Nothing. No, I actually, I kind of feel like, so I live by this idea of, whatever you do, try to leave it better than you found it, right? I tell my kids that. I'm like, look, I don't know what it is, but whatever you're doing, just try to leave things even a little bit better. Don't go backwards. And so, whatever it may be, when I first got out of law school, we were doing the net ban. That was the big thing back then. And we got involved in that. I've been the chair of the ethics commission before. I've been in we did all kinds. We drafted the first pro bono plan in the entire circuit at my old firm, Williams Parker down the street. It became a model for other ones, which was kind of nice. and we're always doing something. And one of the things we've had up to 8 lawyers here, we had 50 at the other firm. And we always tell them, you got to get involved. Whatever it is you like to do, get involved and make sure you do something in a leadership capacity to make a difference. And it seems to work. I think people kind of take to it. I think gives them a little sense of pride. So that's about the only legacy I have. So that'll be the only thing I leave.
I was going to ask you about advice, but I think the advice that you just gave to young attorneys watching this is excellent.
Yep. Get involved. And I also tell them, and do take on a leadership position. I mean, this is really practical advice, but if you're going to get on a board, plan on chairing that board, because it's, first of all, it's good for you. There's nothing like being in the position of responsibility as opposed to just sitting on the board. And second of all, frankly, no one remembers you if you're just on the board. If you're out there and you're the chair, they remember you. And so if you're going to be a young lawyer coming up, just make sure you're in that chair at some point. And it, makes it more enjoyable anyway.
I think that's excellent advice for young attorneys. You have received many awards and accolades. For instance, the 2008 Florida Bar President's Pro Bono Service Award, Best Lawyer in America by Best Lawyers, a legal up-and-comer and legal elite in Florida Trend Magazine,
I love this show. This is the best show ever. Floridaville Express, must-watch TV. It's great.
And those are just a few of the many awards. But of all those, which of those means the most to you and why?
So two, I would say the pro bono one was a really big deal. It was, I actually didn't know what it was. So I was I'd been on the legal aid board for a while, and we'd had this case, and I won't bore you with the details, but it went on and on and on and on. And it went to the DCA, and it came back, and it was like a real kind of moving set of facts, And so after it was all over, they said, "Oh, you got nominated for this thing and you won." And I was like, "Oh, great." They're like, "Do I get a sticker? What do I get?" And they're like, "No, you go to the Florida Supreme Court and they take you down into the well, and they take it from all the circuits." So they got 20 people there, and then one overall winner, which wasn't me. But they take you down, and the whole Supreme Court, they all come out, they all sit there, and then they take you through, and each of them talk to you and say, they like shake your hand and say, like, really want to. I was like completely blown away. It took my wife, because I thought it would be like a lark, and she was like, "This is the best thing ever." And then they have a big dinner for you, and it was like I couldn't contain myself. It was just like so life experience kind of thing, But very unexpected too, because I didn't even know I was nominated, and then they sent it up. So it was very cool. So I tell people that it's if they ever get nominated, absolutely go to the ceremony, because you'll never forget it. And Best Lawyers, that's one that you don't apply for. You just, people like put your name in, and then you get it. And so that was nice, because that's really from people that you see every day, and so that one was nice. So I'd say those two.
I've worked with you, and I'd have to say that was very well deserved. Best Lawyer, really fantastic, the work that you do. So you're a board certified by the Florida Bar in business litigation. Can you share with our viewers what that means when they see an attorney that's board certified?
Sure. So it's made up of two things, and there's only a small percentage of the state that has it. It's made up of two things. One is experience, and one is testing. So you have to have a certain number of jury trials. You have to have a certain number of bench trials. And then you have to take a test, and it has to be within a certain number of years. So it's every, they look back for jury trials. It's how many of you had over a 10-year period. For others, it's 5 years. So it's a fairly narrow window. And you're always trying to get them, you're just trying to, like, how many do I have? How many do I have? And then you take a test like the bar exam, which is kind of a hurdle in and of itself, and kind of unnerving, because by the time you take a board certification test, you've been out of school a long time, and you're like, oh, this wasn't this hard when I was in school. It seemed much easier. And now it's all on a computer, so I had to learn how to do that. But so then you take it, and a certain percentage pass like the bar, and it's a good process. I tell people, if you're at the stage in your career where you've got the requisite experience part of it, at least take the board certification review process. You may not want to sit for the exam or not, but just going through the process of studying for the exam is really good for you. It's like it's like a, I don't know, law school refresher exam or a Barbary exam or something. It's just really good to do every once in a while. Now I have to do it every few years, so I'm stuck doing it, but it's good stuff.
If someone wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do so?
They can call me 941-556-9030, and they can ask for me, or they can email me. It's mbentley@thebentleylawfirm.com, or they can just go to the website that's scrolling on your screen right now, www.thebentleylawfirm.com, and they've got all the bios, all the attorneys up there, and you can click on it and get a hold of me, and I'm answer my own phone, so you'll get me.
Well, Bentley, excuse me. Well, Morgan.
Happens all the time.
It happens all the time. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
That wraps up tonight's episode of the Floridaville Express. Be sure to tune in Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern to catch our show live. And remember, you can watch previous episodes of the Floridaville Express on our YouTube channel and on Facebook. Our next new episode is September 13th with naturopath Dr. Ronak Patel to discuss functional medicine.
And don't forget, if you've been wanting to create a video show or a podcast like this one, we can help you with that. Our company, Rocket Ship Consultants, can strategize with you and help you launch your multimedia shows, events, or fundraiser. Contact us for more information so we can help you focus a spotlight on the trailblazing work you and your team are doing. Also wanted to say, again, thank you to our sponsor, Phipps Reporting. We really appreciate your sponsorship and backing of us, and just can't thank you enough for that. And thanks so much to all of our viewers for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next week.